Good, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our September 18th, 2024 version of the iBug Android Insight Call. Here on this call, we're all about Android. Everything that works on the Android platform is open for discussion in this community. We are a live community. We are the best community. We are the Android community. So, whether you have a smartphone, a Galaxy tablet, Fire tablet, an Android tablet, a Pixel, a Samsung, any phone that runs on the Android platform, as well as your Alexa devices or your Google devices. These are all open topics for discussion. So I want to welcome you again. My name is Ava Harshid. I am your host or facilitator for this call, and I'm actually out of Houston. And my co-host, I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Hershey. I'm coming in to you from the Central Florida area, and welcome you to the show. Hope you guys have your questions ready for us, and throw it back to you, Ava.
Alrighty, so let's just do a little bit of our housekeeping. You know, you can reach us at ibugtoday.com. And you can also find go to our iBug Android Inside link there if you want to listen to any of our old shows that that you've missed before, or if you need to review something we've gone over. You can reach us there. Hershey, you want to say where else you can reach us?
My favorite, YouTube. Yes, so if you go to YouTube, if you type in iBug Today, IBUG Today, you'll come to our channel. And once you're in, once you hit once you see the results, go to the channel, and under the channel, look for playlist. You'll find videos, trying to think of the different names that they use there in YouTube land, but there are a bunch of tabs basically. And if you look under playlist, you'll find any of our past shows. We have about 40 shows uploaded there. Sometimes if we have said links, you'll find some links for the products in the description. So that is definitely a great place to find any of our past episodes. Ooh, Ava. Have you been watching that list of ours? Let's hook them up with that list, because we've been getting some really cool updates on that list too.
Hey, you want to go ahead and tell them how to
Sure.
join it?
So yeah, if you're interested in joining the list with iBug Today or iBug Android Insight, there is the iBug Today list as well. But we're going to give you the link here. So if you send us a blank email, rather, not a link, but a blank email to iBug Android ANDROID Insight INSIGHT plus subscribe at groups.io. And if you just send us that blank email, we could definitely stay in correspondence from each show. The show is every month, third Wednesday. So it's a good place to share any new upcoming news, like what does Android 15 have in store for us, or things of that nature. So please feel free to send us a blank email and get on that list and ask your questions on there while we don't have the show.
And just one more little thing, do not forget that Friday night is the iBug movie. It starts 7:30 p.m. is the social hour, 8 o'clock is the movie, and this Friday night's movie is called Memory. It was produced in 2023, 22, okay? And you reach it by the same Zoom link. And if you want to see what else iBug has going on for the rest of the month of September, you can always go to ibugtoday.com and sign up for the newsletter. And it comes out once a month. And once you sign up, you will always get a link to show you where what dates events are happening. Alrighty, so Hershey,
Yes, yes,
let's
yes.
do a round about see who's out there.
Yeah,
Get
I heard some new
somebody.
names in there and all kinds of things. So yeah, let's.
I heard some new ones too this month.
Yeah.
Oh, but guess what, Hershey? We forgot last month,
Huh.
but I'm gonna remember this month.
Huh.
This is actually our fifth year
Whoa.
as of August.
Is it?
Yeah,
Did
because
COVID gave me a big blur of when
we
that's what
started during
started this?
COVID. Yeah,
And wow, 5 years. I've been
we
telling
it,
people four
five.
because of 2020 counting numbers. You know, 21,
Yeah, I
20.
know. I'm thinking four too, but we're gonna start our fifth year.
Well,
So
fantastic. And Ava, it's been always a pleasure to host with you. And let's start this off and figure out who's out here in this crowd. So please state your name, where you're coming in from, maybe what kind of devices that you have, and favorite ice cream.
This is Foster from Houston.
Welcome, Foster.
Uh, I'm a regular, so I got the Galaxy Z Fold 3,
Fold Squad
Pixel,
coming live.
Pixel 7 Pro, still got that one. A bunch of other A-Lady devices, and one or two Google Home speakers. And my favorite ice cream, oh, there's so many to choose from. But I'm gonna just go with an old school uh, vanilla bean.
That's smooth, man. That's smooth, Foster. All right. Well, anyone else wants to continue on after Foster? Just introduce yourself and let us know where you're coming in from.
Hi, my name is Susan Hedrick, and I'm from Springfield, Virginia. That's Northern Virginia, like a half an hour away from DC. I have an Android phone, and my favorite ice cream is Cherry Jubilee.
Ooh, yummy. Awesome. Well, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us for the first time as well.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right.
My name is Linda, and I'm from the Phoenix suburbs.
Nice.
And I have an Android phone. I'm sighted, and I help people set up their phones.
Awesome.
And
well, thank
so
you so much
when
for
you
that.
start taking questions, I have one I want to ask. But for the meantime, Moose Tracks is my favorite ice cream.
Repeat that ice cream.
Moose Tracks.
Ah, got to go try that out next time I'm out there in ice cream shops.
Ben and Jerry's.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining us, and we'll keep the flow going.
no, go ahead. Okay.
Yep, just unmute and just let us know where you're coming in from and what kind of phone you might have, and what kind of ice cream you might like.
Hi there, Renee from Cleveland.
Hey, could you repeat your name one more time? Didn't hear you.
Renee from Cleveland.
Miss Renee?
Can you hear me?
Now I can. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Renee from Cleveland, and I have a Pixel 8 Pro, and nothing beats chocolate in my mind.
True. Mix it up. Well, thank you so much for having you on tonight, and we'll just keep on going. Huh. Okay. So if everyone's kind of in the shy spot, I'm Hershey, again, coming in from the Central Florida area. I have, let's see, a S22 Ultra as my phone with the SIM in it. I have the Pixel Fold and a few speakers. They're more in the Google sphere than they are in the Amazon sphere. But you know what? Let me go talk to that Amazon lady over there, my co-host. Maybe she could give us some insight. And ice cream-wise, something new every time is always good. So,
Hello.
hey, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you now.
Oh, great. This is Michelle Scott from Charleston, South Carolina.
Welcome,
I
Mr. Chip.
have a Samsung Galaxy S22 as well as a Sky 10 Android tablet. And my favorite ice cream would be strawberry cheesecake.
Nice, nice. Well, welcome, Miss Michelle, and thank you for joining us. Not a first timer, it sounds like. But thank you so much for all you folks that have heard about us, or maybe through the different groups that you've run into, that you're here tonight. And hope that we can answer your questions. And Ava, you want to mention what you have over in your little nook over there?
Hello, yes, I have Echo Shows, I have the Echo Dot, the Echo Pop, the Echo Snowball, I have a Fire tablet, Galaxy tablet, I have the Samsung Note 20.
You guys thought I was joking about the
I
Amazon
have
lady.
a Google, I have a Google Home, and I am looking to pick up a couple of more things, as well as a Fire TV. And I miss my Samsung TV, but okay.
Well, sounds great. Right. So if we've gone through it, we heard a couple new people coming in, but if no one else is there to introduce themselves, we could definitely go ahead.
Open the floor up for comments, questions.
So this is Linda, and I do have a question about all phones, but Android in this case. I wish for some of the people I work with that I could reduce the sensitivity of the finger touch on the screen on a Android phone. Mine happens to be a Motorola, but Samsung, whatever it is. People keep accidentally, when they use their phones, either with voice or otherwise, they keep, how should I say, activating apps that they didn't mean to, because they're just moving their fingers. I work with senior citizens mostly, and they're moving their fingers around the screen, and then things pop up, and then they don't know how to get rid of them. And it just seems to me it would be really nice if there was a setting, which I can't seem to find it in settings, if there's a place to just help, just reduce the sensitivity of the screen. I know there is a place in there where you can increase the sensitivity of the screen, but I want to decrease it so that people can be a little less careful with what's going on with their fingers on the screen.
All right, Ms. Linda, thank you for that question. And just to follow up, these senior citizens or whomever that comes for training to you, they're not typically using a screen reader, right? They're just using low vision tools or the phone itself?
Sometimes each. But
sometimes each.
Yes.
Okay. So the main thing is just it's more on the low vision side than it being on the ladder with the screen reader users.
Yes. What happens though, since a lot of this is macular degeneration, they start out as using magnification and low vision type things, but the vision deteriorates down to the point where they really need to use it as though they were total.
Right. The way we usually run the show is we leave it open to our audience to help us answer the question. But I know some of our audience members that, or even our people that have been coming in often, are normally use screen readers. But under the display settings on any of these said devices, I would try to investigate under there. I know that you mentioned about the sensitivity when some people use screen protectors, for example. You could change the sensitivity to increase. And the other aspects that I could think of, which gets into the weeds or gets into the nerdly zone, is sometimes maybe going through the developer options. But I haven't gone in there in quite some time. I'm somewhat of a low vision user, but do typically rely on TalkBack more often than using my Vision. I kind of use it for what's important. But those are two places. Let me open up the floor here and see if anybody else has some more insight from Ms. Linda. She's basically trying to get any of her Android devices or set phones to be a little bit less, I guess, disruptive by pushing any random apps or turning on an app or opening an app just by accidentally touching something. If maybe we have insight on that, or maybe we could give some insight on quickest methods that you guys might have find to close apps or take that with people.
Yeah, this is Foster.
Go ahead, Foster.
On some phones too, I think it's under accessibility. Excuse me, you can make it where instead of single tapping a app to open it, where you have to double tap it. So that also alleviates accidentally opening up apps so easily.
Thank you, Foster. And Foster, I think you did come up on that right place that I was trying to go in my brain, which thank you for taking me there. And it's the 12 time. I think it's called, they call it 12 timing or
Yes,
something about,
dwell.
right? And then so for people that are motor impaired, perhaps this could be
Hmm.
a useful tool. So again, you don't have to have, or if you don't have TalkBack, you don't have select to speak. Oh my gosh, where am I going to go? You could look under the accessibility settings per said phone. Typically, they have pretty much the same accessibility features. It's, I know it matters from operating system to OS to OS, so like 14 to 15, but there isn't too much significant differences there. So I would definitely take Foster's point, and those are the two places. One being display, and the other place being go under accessibility, and maybe just kind of past the hearing impaired stuff, past the vision impaired stuff, and you'll find a double tap or kind of a 12 timing type of situation in one of those menus. And
Oh,
if
here we go.
go ahead,
I'm on my phone now.
go ahead, Foster.
So I went to accessibility, and then I went down to interaction and dexterity. And when you
Perfect.
click on that, excuse me, it has interaction control, block touches for the back, home, and recent buttons, the keyboard, and selected area of the screen. So you can go under that. And you also have the other one is there's a touch setting for touch and hold delay, and then you also have a tap duration. Set how long an interaction needs to be held to be recognized as a tap. So yeah, so you have all those under, and I'm using a Samsung phone, but I think those are general Android settings, right, Hershey?
Yes, Foster, and thank you for justifying that. That's the Samsung phone. I'm going to go check on the Pixel Fold here shortly, and maybe while another question comes up, I'll try to bring the Pixel Fold on air so that we could all investigate what does the accessibility menu look under on a Pixel phone, which typically mimic the Motorola phones as well, because they're a Android One device, or I don't know if they still use that moniker, but they're pure stock Android, whereas Samsung uses its own skin on top of having it on Android.
All this has been extremely helpful, and I appreciate it. So I'll
Absolutely.
just watch for what you can offer. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. And if you have more, please feel free. Like I said, we're always trying to find better solutions, or sometimes we might use TalkBack in one form, and then someone on this call might say, you know what, if you hit three finger tap, and then you'll see links at the top of that list, and you could go to any link you want, and then it's like you have this epiphany because things are ever so changing. So I appreciate your question, Miss Linda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And Miss Linda, this is Foster. I'm primarily a low vision user,
Hmm.
so I use I rarely use TalkBack. I use a couple of other different things, but Yeah, if they can still see, but then the issue is with their dexterity, then you can make those adjustments on the phone. So,
Good.
uh, yeah.
And Foster, could I ask you, how old are you?
Well, it's not good to ask a woman her age, but you can ask a man his age. So
Sure. I'm
I'm
81. How old are
56.
you?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, okay. I'm your son. I'm
Right.
57.
But I'm
It's good to see
wondering,
you active. It's good to see you active and actually showing other people
yeah,
what to do with these devices.
but
Yeah.
I think that those of us who are in the retirement age group, shall we say,
Hmm.
it's a lot, we are, some people are a lot less, as you say, dexterous than others. So
Right.
that's one of the problems. Thank you.
Hmm.
I noticed how you avoided telling me how old you are, though.
Yeah, I told you I'm 57.
Oh, 57. Okay. You're a spring chicken. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Cluck, cluck, cluck. All right. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. All right. So if anyone else has more questions to ask, please feel free to state your name and let us know what your thoughts are.
This is Renee.
Go ahead, Ms. Renee.
I just wanted to make a comment. Thank Kevin for sending out that email about the updates, but I had just read that article, I think right before I saw his email. And I do have to say that I'm so glad that um, Google finally put in some image description. I like how they changed it when you bring up the menu with instead of the image description being at the bottom, it's at the top now. And it really saves a lot of time, lets me spend way more money on Amazon than I need to now that I can actually go through things I'm shopping and select the images and get the image description right there instead of having to use an app to describe it to me so I can see if it's exactly what I want to purchase, whether I need it or not. But I think that's a great leap forward doing that. Not having to leave whatever you're in to get something described, so you can do it a lot faster. I really do like that feature. And some of the other changes they made are useful too for being able to edit and correct, text and find your way around to where you want to be. Some continuous improvement. I really like it. The updates.
Hey, this is Hershey. So, Ms. Renee, what in the world are you talking about?
I was just going to ask that too, Renee.
The
I'm
email
kidding.
that
I'm
the,
kidding.
the
I finally got to
email
make her laugh. Thank
the
you.
email that he sent
Yes.
out about the
So,
changes.
what is going on with the email that she's speaking of is Kevin, who is also I think on the call, had sent a blurb on what is new with TalkBack 15. So for Miss Linda and anybody else that is new to these devices, brief storytelling here is Google uses TalkBack as its screen reader, and so does Samsung, so does Motorola, so does Sony. So anything that is on Android typically is used by TalkBack, aside from a few third-party vendors out there in the wild. But what it is that there are two or three new features, and some of you iOS users might enjoy it, where you want to see what color the headphones are, or what image is showing up, or you're just on a website and you want to know what's on your screen, or you're on an app and you don't know what's written on the screen, for example. So if you were to take three fingers, tap it, it would the first menu item would be that image describer. So we've seen this on iOS, and it's pretty much trickling down everywhere. And it is also using Gemini, as the AI gods are always helpful for perhaps maybe you have a picture like, hey, what color shirt is XYZ person wearing, or what color shoes are those XYZ. So things of that nature. It's definitely a helpful add-on, and Miss Renee, I appreciate that you understood me by that. I'd just like to pull on you sometimes, but yeah. So there's just some new features that have been introduced, and Android 15, which is the operating system side, which of course it has its own features depending on what phone you have. So Samsung, for example, is currently on Android 14. Android 15 for Pixel phones will be rolling out pretty much next month. It's trickling down to everybody, but you're able to get onto the beta if you wanted to try out the beta. Which, for example, I have the Android 15 beta still installed on my Pixel Fold, and what that is taking all the features that'll come out in December. I'm already beta testing those, so for those that want to try it, sure, why not? It's typically advised once the beta cycles around beta 3 is the best time to try something because it's stable. But previous to that point, it's a little bit more. You want to be careful because if it's a daily phone that you're using, you may run into some issues. So just be careful. So just beware of trying to join a beta if you're not sure what you're doing, and that goes for any phone. iOS just released iOS 18. So if you have any more questions, again, I'll leave it out to you guys. And thank you, Kevin, and anybody else that wants to correspond on that list.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I just wanted to say about the image descriptions that it is wonderful that they've moved it up to the top, but it is also, and they did this in Android 14, TalkBack 14, but you can also, it's the last item in the list, but you can assign a gesture. So I don't use the four-finger double tap the four-finger single tap for anything because I don't need the tutorial or whatever it's for. So I assign that to image description. So when I'm on a picture on Amazon or whatever, I've just been taking pictures of everything and just tap once with four fingers and it goes right into the description. So, but it is convenient that they moved it up to the top because it wasn't like that. I've been running the beta for a while and it wasn't like that on the beta at first.
Thank you for the clarifications there, Kevin. And yes, definitely a useful tool for, I find myself using it more often. Just, I don't know what's on my screen, tap, go, bam. It's an image of ... So it definitely saves a lot of time. So appreciate that. All right. Any more questions, thoughts, concerns on this topic, or do we move on to the next one?
Hi, this is Susan.
Hi, Miss Susan.
This is new for me. The what you guys are talking about, the image description. So if I have I take a picture, and I have an Android phone here. Are you saying that I have to do a gesture that then it will talk back to me on what the picture is?
Yes. It's also going to describe the scene and what it's seeing. So that's built into the camera now. So not only is it in Lookout, but in the camera, it'll let you know some of the other things that are in view, so that, but then you can, check the picture afterwards so you can see if you got a picture of just yourself or a picture of you in the wall or, whatever. But it does a great job doing screen descriptions after the fact. But just when you're waving your camera around or whatever, especially if you're using the back camera, it'll do a scene description for you and let you kind of know what it sees.
Is there a setting I need to put on my phone to have this done, or how does that work?
I think it's pushed to the camera because it's working on my Pixel 8 and I'm not using Android 15 on it. So that's just part of the camera. It might be better in Android 15, which I'm running the beta on my 6 Pro, but so that just works. But if you have the TalkBack 15, which all of my students got it one day in class at the same time. So everybody should pretty much have it now, as long as you have, I think, like Android 13 and above.
Miss Susan, this is Hershey real quick.
It should come up.
What kind of phone were you using?
I'm using Samsung this year. Yes, S22. Yes.
Okay.
And I usually Not. Oh,
Oh
go ahead.
yeah. I'm
Go ahead,
sorry, this
Kevin.
is Kevin. There was an article on Android Police that said that the AI features, the AI camera features, are not coming to Samsung's version of TalkBack.
Oh,
So it
okay.
will right now give you a general description just by you swiping to the picture. You do have to go into image descriptions and the talkback settings and turn it on. And it does have some granular levels, like you can say all pictures, all icons, or you can say none. So it has three different settings. There's three different things you can choose and three different settings for each of them. But as far as they know right now, the AI features are not coming to Samsung's version of TalkBack.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for that, Kevin. And Miss Susan, don't be discouraged. You just never know. Sometimes what happens is with the two companies, they have different update cycles, and one reason that Samsung may not be using it because they might use a different model, as they call it these days, these AI models.
Mhm.
And so sometimes trying to get all of that worked in and worked out doesn't always fit into the plane. And so, one other thing is just a quick side note or a question to others is since other folks on here are using Samsung, has the 15 version rolled out for you on your Samsung devices for TalkBack? And yeah, so again, I wouldn't discount it that it won't be as similar, but sometimes there is this delay within Samsung's camp where it might take 6 to 8 months for them to kind of get everything squared away. And we haven't really heard what they're going to do with TalkBack on their end, personally, except for what are written in these articles. So I would just say stay tuned, and then you could always see what's available to you come next month.
So, this is Katrisa.
Go ahead.
So, is this is this for is this for all is this for all Samsung phones, or is it just a certain model that they're not going to do AI on? Is it just 15 and under?
I personally have not read the article. If Kevin, if you could probably send that article over onto the mailing list, that way we could just take a peek. But reason being that is that this is just my personal observation, so please don't take it with a grain of salt. Is I've been using Samsung since 2012, and typically they've been running delayed on the talkback side. If anybody that is a screen reader user, I typically say get you a Pixel phone or a Motorola or anything that's using pure Android, just because of the fact of that. But even to kind of go into these brands and models and what to buy, everybody has their own flavor, and I think this is all about that flavor. We talked about ice cream in a earlier pre-show. Is was your favorite ice cream flavor? But again, everybody's different, right? So again, Samsung is being a little different, but not trying to be mean about it. It's just that they have different UI, which is the user interface skin that they use, whereas the Pixel phones they use it's the Pixel skin. So there are some nuances, but nothing that is far fetched. If you don't have said apps and you have a Samsung phone, one great thing to use, and it's still available to you to use, is Lookout. Now, with any of this we mentioned, and any of this that we mentioned with TalkBack, the way that we described to even see the setting was to tap on your phone with 3 fingers, which is a navigational gestures. So up, down, left, right, and then tap. So with the 3 fingers, you would have a menu which is called the TalkBack menu. And in the TalkBack menu, this is where we've been discussing, where on the top of the list showed this describe image thing. And then in the bottom of the list, but the other aspect of Android is just like any other phone these days, customization. So if you are using, for example, Lookout, You could use Lookout's installed services, which is under the accessibility settings, under the main settings of your Android phone. And under there, the other day, I saw that Lookout was available. So you're able to add a gesture to your TalkBack phone, regardless of what TalkBack version you have. And if that TalkBack gesture then can talk to like that gesture, whatever Lookout thing that you're trying to use, which Google Lookout Assisted Vision is an app such as Seeing AI, if you might be familiar with that name, or Envision AI. So with those apps, they kind of do similar things, but Google makes the app. So the images is in that app itself. So if you have any pictures or you want to know what color your dress was or etc., just go to under the images tab under Google Lookout, and you could run the same exact thing that we're talking about. What we're talking about specifically is ease of use. So to get it done faster, to get it done quicker, rather than open Lookout, go to images, then take the picture, then do that's more steps. So we're just what we're discussing typically here is just how do we get things done quicker, and then under TalkBack, if you are using a Pixel phone and you're already up to date with this TalkBack 15, you'll start to see different menu lists or submenus or subcategories. And you'll see this list specifically talking about image recognition or screen recognition. And you might be familiar with stuff like that on the iOS side. But thank you for the question. Go ahead.
Alexa.
Oh, this is Katrina. This is Katrina. Okay. What is Google Lookout? Is that a app I can get on Play Store? Or?
Yes, it is, Ms. Patricia. Yes, it is. And if you go to your Play Store, just type in Google Lookout Assisted Vision. I would type all those words in, because if you just type in Lookout, for example, or even if you drop the word Google and just type in Lookout Assisted Vision, you'll have a better chance finding it quickly. Yep. Otherwise, you will find a software for security called Lookout, which is different. So look for Google Lookout or Google Lookout Assisted Vision or Lookout Assisted Vision.
I think I got that.
Yep. And you'll have different menus in there. So if you're trying to do currency, if you're trying to read documents, you're trying to read text from a distance, or just read text. If you're trying to know what's seen, we used the word seen here earlier. And with what that scene is you could see what's in your environment. And with the images thing, you could ask it questions to say, hey, so, what color is the sign for, I don't know, Netflix? And it should say red. So things of that nature is what the app can do. But thank you. All right. Well, great questions and great thoughts. More thoughts, concerns? It's all yours.
Hershey, this is Susan. With the Google Lookout, when you were saying that it reads, does it read where you have to take a picture of it and then it reads it back to you?
This is Hershey. There are a couple different modes. There's text and then there's document. On the text side,
okay,
it does just a quick image of the text, so kind of hold your phone steady as possible. Otherwise, it'll keep snapping pictures of said cereal box or I don't know said things. And the other, could you repeat the other part?
Oh, I just wanted to know if when you use that on Google Lookout, if it reads it back to you, if you have to take a picture of it and then it reads. But you already answered the question. You said
yes.
if it texted.
The picture part that I wanted to kind of shine light on. So there's a thing called images under that section. And or there's, if you have pictures in your albums, photo book, etc., you could, or even a screenshot, you could always send that back to images or Lookout, and then it will transcribe for you. So again, we're all about how can we get it done quickly, and with all these different brands, and how do we keep up with Samsung's doing this thing and Pixel's doing that thing. So just to make our lives a little bit more easier is what we're kind of sharing here.
Right. So type in like what you told that lady earlier. So type in the Play Store Google Lookout.
Assisted vision.
Okay.
If you type in Google Lookout, you'll find it, but you'll have to scroll a couple items down. Last time I tried it, it was about 4 or 5 items way before
Okay.
Lookout Assisted Vision. So just to want to make sure that if you download Lookout, it's not the right one. If you download Lookout Assisted Vision, as it states on the Play Store, that's the correct one.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I don't want to take anything from Google Lookout, believe me, but if you have a Samsung phone, you have Bixby Vision,
You took the stuff out of my mouth, my brain.
and they're
Kevin.
always updating, and it has the camera pictures. As far as describing, you can import the pictures now, and the screen, the scene descriptions and all that. It doesn't have the voice label reader. I mean the label reader, the food label reader, stuff like that, like Seeing AI and Lookout does, but it does everything. Well, they call it the wine mode, but I think it'll pick up food too, but it's just called wine detection or something.
Hey, this is Katrisa. I have an A14 and I have a 10. Is it a 10? Is it a 10 plus? I think it's a 10. Which one is later? Which one is
The A14?
The A14 is later.
Yes.
So my A14 does not have Bixby, but my 10 plus does.
Yeah, yes, your 10 plus does because it's a flagship phone. The A14 is not.
What's the difference between a flagship phone and a?
Well, the 10 plus back when it was the phone, it cost the most. So that's what flagship made. Like that phone was probably, the 10 plus was like $999 when it was the phone, and the A14 is like what, 179 or something, 150. So I have an A25, and an A25 does not have Bixby Vision. It doesn't have Bixby. It doesn't have any of that.
Thank you for that, Kevin.
Each phone, huh?
So let me ask you this, Kevin. So the A25 was the cutoff with the Bixby button? The 20 series, rather?
It doesn't have Bixby anywhere on. I thought it would. I mean,
I don't know. We some of our old listeners here haven't seen Shay in here, but like the 830. I wonder if they had the Bixby button, because
the 835. I mean, it has the side button because they use the side button now. They don't have a dedicated Bixby button anymore. But I'm thinking that the A35 does, but the A25 does not.
The A35 does have Bixby Vision on it.
Okay.
Look that one up for someone.
Excuse me, what is the difference between A35 and A14? Is the memory? Because mine's got 64 gig.
Anybody want to answer that question, or I could take it? All right, so let's go into Samsung Land real quick, and I'm just going to give you a quick, brief synopsis of what Samsung has as its models. So flagship phones are typically your S lineup phones. So the current phone right now that is out is the S24. If you look at the years on some of these phones, the number value, they match the year or the last digit typically does. So then the Samsung series also have the A series, which again, it could be the more affordable series if you want to call it that. But as far as memory, storage, the processor, all of those fun facts and features and all of that, they're not that up to date. They give people the benefit of the doubt for budget. So what I could suggest is if you are in the if you're looking for a new phone, in other words, the A35 would be my cutoff, or A30 something. Right, so the next 2026 will be A36. Let's give it that example. 2025 is not here yet, but the 2025 phone is out already because we're already in the middle of the year or almost end of the year. Third, fourth quarter is when the the next year phone typically tends to come out on the A series. On the S models, the Samsung S25 will come out in the month of January, typically. And in the middle of the summertime, that's when their other flagship phones, such as the Fold, the Flip, and any of those kind of models come out. So, just as far as what they offer you there, and then to take it on the flip side, since I know Pixel pretty decently, is that Pixel also does something similar, but this year they moved up their releases of the phone to August. So all their Pixel 9, 9 Pro, 9 Pro Fold, all of that, they came out early. But during the summertime, during Google I/O, they typically release the A model phones. So in this example, it would be the Pixel 8a. So one thing to note is for us vision loss folks here is we always want to have the features that are going to help us. Sometimes, yes, the cost may be that it's cheaper and it's a couple $100 to buy Motorola, but the long-term, I guess, effects that could happen is you'll have one phone has the feature and then the A14 does not have the feature. So then you're like, wait, I just spent all this money and then it doesn't have it. So if you're able to shoot for the S models, that's great. They're a little bit more expensive, but the A models in the Samsung series do offer a greater discount. Anywhere from $300 to $500, you could find an A series phone, whereas in the Pixel, the A series phone is about $399. Like for an 8A right now, it's $399, and so just hopefully that helps you get some idea of what the models are there. I'm not trying to get into much in the weeds of Sony and Motorola because everybody has different brands and phones.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for the question. And again, floor is all yours, everybody. So please feel free to just state your name and ask your question away.
It's Renee.
Go ahead, Miss Renee.
Just a question. If anybody is using Gemini, if they've activated the Gemini app on their Pixel phone, and how they like use it, and do you miss anything from the Google Assistant? How does that work together? I've read a couple articles, and I'm just wondering, should I go ahead and activate the Gemini app?
Great question. AI. Huh.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
So I use Gemini on not only my Pixel phones, but all of my other phones. I use Gemini. The only features that you're going to miss, they've already taken out of Google Assistant anyway, like the ability to send an email with the assistant. So that's the only thing that's not present, but they've updated it. So now when you say lock the front door or whatever, that all works with Gemini, and turning lights on and off and getting the time and the weather. So most of the stuff, I haven't noticed anything that's not there. You can send a text message and stuff with Google, but like I said, a lot of the stuff they had already taken out of Google Assistant. I think there was an article that had like 3 things or 5 things they're removing from Google Assistant in preparation for Gemini.
Okay.
So it might be coming back. Now you can supposedly draft or compose the email with Gemini, but you're going to have to copy the information out and put it in the email that you want it to go in.
Oh, okay. So no big losses. Then you can still use both of them once you activate the app, right?
There's a way that you can go back and forth, but it does tell you that you have to make a choice as what your default is.
Okay.
But I think you can go into the settings if it's not going the way you want and switch back to the assistant. But like I said, as far as just time, weather, all that other stuff, telling a joke and all that basic stuff, it does. But now it does more, like you can create a story, you can tell it, and they added so before, if you gave it a voice command, or no matter what you did, it would always give you written results. Now, if you speak to it, it speaks back to you. So you don't have to hit the listen button. It's not manual. So,
So is it, do I have to use the same keyword that I would use before, or
yeah, you can still say the same keyword, or you can just hold down the power button. And
okay?
even
And
on
it's
my Pixel buds, when I hold down on my wired ones, when I push the button, it still says Gemini. So whatever you've done before, it's gonna launch Gemini.
so is it gonna if I put the app on my phone, is it gonna impact my Pixel Watch? Is it gonna impact my speakers in the house?
It hasn't affected my Pixel Watch. I think the Pixel Watch 3 might be using Gemini, but my speakers are all um still using the Google Assistant for now.
Okay.
Patricia, how do you get Gemini to turn your lights on? Talking about your light switch in your room or the phone?
Home automation, like lights in the room,
Yeah, you have to have the smart home devices.
setting your thermostat, things like that.
Yeah, they have to be compatible with your phone, right?
Yeah, they have to be
With the Google
compatible.
Assistant,
Yeah.
the Google Home app,
Yep.
and there's hundreds and thousands of brands.
Yep.
So I have a regular light switch on the wall. Will it tell it to go off?
No, you have to have a smart device that is compatible with uh Google Home. So either you have to have a smart bulb that is compatible, or a smart switch, or a
Okay.
smart plug. And you know, you have to
Uh-huh.
look at what it is you're trying to do, because sometimes like our kitchen, when we do the kitchen, when we remodel, we put in 10 can lights. Well, it makes more sense to make a switch that operates those 10 can lights, which makes it so I can tell it to turn the lights on, turn them off, and since they were dimmable, I can set the brightness level with the assistant, because they were all ones that were compatible with the Google Home. But some of the things in our house are the bulbs, because we might want certain features, and like whether you wanted some that, that were just smart bulbs that were different colors and stuff like that. But it depends on what you're doing, which way you would choose to do it, depending on what you want personally, what works best for you, or what makes more sense economically. Maybe if that's a consideration, it might be why you might choose a bulb or a switch or a smart outlet or whatever.
Thank you for that, Mr. Nate.
Hmm.
And yes, there's a couple spaces you could go here. You could go into the Amazon world, or you could go into the Google world. So if you let's say got a mini speaker from Google or Amazon, then you just basically buy smart bulbs and then connect the corresponding apps, and you should be off to the races. That's at least the cheapest entry level way to get into a smart home. And another one, last month we did talk about this topic a little. So if you want to go back onto something like YouTube and look at our last month's episode, you could get some more information off of that too, in case if we haven't covered it. And you know what? One thing I wanted to mention, I know we had a couple new listeners here that joined in a little bit later, is that the mailing list. I spoke to Kevin earlier if you could send over something onto the mailing list, but that mailing list for our Android Insight call is IBUG Android Insight + subscribe at groups.io. And just sending a blank email will put you on the list. And then therefore, once you have questions, or you wanted to read like the article that we've mentioned, Kevin has sent out during the week, last week, or during this week rather, and it explained a few tidbits. And you're more than welcome to ask your questions there if you're in a predicament of buying something and you don't want to wait the whole month to join our call. You're more than welcome to get in touch with us over there. All right. So more questions, thoughts, concerns. Go ahead.
Katrisa, what is it? iBook Android Insight Plus.
Yep, the plus sign. Subscribe.
Oh, plus subscribe at
groups.io. GRUPS.io.
So, you recommend a Pixel phone?
I recommend what's going to work for each individual, and the personal consensus has been Samsung and Pixel phones, but depending on what model you buy and all of that, let's give example for what you have there. I don't know if there's going to be any trade-in value, but if it does save money that way, then maybe. But I just read, I think the deal ends on the 27th or something of this month, and it's from the store.google.com, and the Pixel 8a was on sale for $399. So, if that's a perfect way to get into what you need, and the phones and such are pretty adept. So it's not like you have to worry about specifics.
Wow. I got another question. I got
Go
okay. I think it's to where you can I have software. I learned how to I had a new phone from Spectrum, and I transferred all my data and everything from my 10 to my A14 phone, and with the smart switch. So on my other phone, I'm trying to record. I'm trying to do text to speech, the speech to text thing, but it won't show up on this phone. But it'll show up on my Android, my 10 Plus phone. If I uninstall it on that other phone, will it show up on this? Okay, my voice recorder, it'll say list and record, and on the other phone, it'll give you options like, do you want interview, do you want standard, or do you want a speech to text? But it's not on this phone, and so I uninstalled the voice recorder software, and I reinstalled it, and it's still doing the same thing.
And this is Hershey. Are we talking about the Samsung A14 phone that you installed the recorder app?
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing I could say to that is for different models, different phones, and things of that nature, things are going to change perhaps. With the A14, that's a 2024 phone, technically speaking. And, it's just a fact that with the 10s and the 20s series, if that makes sense, like the A14, A24, A34, things of that nature. So those are typically not the best recommendation just because, again, we don't have certain features. Like we're talking about Bixby earlier. We talked about, options of that nature. So kind of be wary, just depending on each person's budget. There are definitely some decent phones. One important fact is that the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 9, any model from the 8 Plus, 8 Pro, 8A, 9 Pro, 9 Pro XL, and 9 Pro Fold, they will last 7 years with operating system updates. So that might be something that might be important to you to purchase a phone that also gives you your bang for the money, for at least having it 3-4 years and having all of these features at your fingertips.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I just wanted to say that what she's experienced, what you're experiencing is correct. I learned that the hard way. The version of the recorder, I don't know how they do this because it's the exact same app, exact same version, but they limit the features on the recorder if you have an A series, the A20 series phone, A1, the teens and the 20s. it's limited. So there's no interview mode, there's no speech to text mode, and the recording list even looks different. The list of recordings even looks different. So
Thank you,
there's no
Kevin.
way to stereo record or any of that. Change the
Could be
recording
hardware
quality.
limitations. So
I don't think there's a hardware. I think they just want you to buy a more expensive phone.
Can I ask you another question? Okay, I have a.
go ahead.
Okay, the phone, the A14 is from Spectrum. You know, Spectrum have their, I guess they have their own list of phones. I was wondering, is it possible I could port Spectrum to my other phone?
This is her. This is
What
Hershey.
carrier did you get it on? Oh,
Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, the 10 plus I got under Page Plus. Yeah.
Page Plus uses Verizon as well. So Spectrum is using Verizon, and so is Page Plus. So you should be able to get them to move it over.
To your personal phone, not their phone.
You should be able to get them to move it. Yeah, because you can bring your own phone to Spectrum and Xfinity as long as it supports the Verizon bands.
Okay.
And as far as this is Hershey. As far as commercials go, Spectrum says you could update anytime, any day, any whatever. So, if you are interested in your Pixel phones, I do see Pixel commercials on Spectrum's commercial stuff. So they do have that as a choice for anybody that has Spectrum as a internet service / mobile provider.
So I could just keep my old phone and not sell it.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty options there, but that's the recommendations. Where I've expressed this is if you're low vision, you're better off with the Samsung phones because you're using low vision features, and if you're using screen readers, you're better off on the Pixel side just because of you get the nosebleed top. You know, whenever a feature comes out, you get that feature. It's really quick, whereas Samsung they put in their own sprinkles and they make their own cupcakes. So.
I guess I could see if I've been using Samsung. Samsung does have TalkBack, and it's helpful. I guess I'm just used to it. I'll see if Spectrum have any Pixel phone.
Okay.
Do you think?
And like I said, this is for everybody. With Samsung Pixel, most of these features that we're speaking of are very similar. So we initially spoke about image description. We spoke about different menu settings and TalkBack. TalkBack look pretty much identical except for the versioning. So if you have a phone like the S24 Ultra or something, and TalkBack gets updated, well, most of the features that were out 6 months ago or before that are probably going to be the same features that are available on the newer device or vice versa. So it's like the waiting time is kind of the only downfall because they again have a different UI and therefore it takes them a little bit more time to kind of go through the kinks and bugs and stuff and release it through the Galaxy Store because TalkBack gets updated on the Samsung phone through the Galaxy Store, not the TalkBack Store, or the Google Play Store. But thank you for all your questions, and if anybody else has more thoughts, concerns, please feel free to say your name and let us know.
This is Renee.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment on it. I just stumbled on something by accident. I was on my Pixel Watch and I pushed the assistant button and asked it the battery level, and I thought it was going to give me the battery level of my watch. Instead, it gave me the battery level of all 5 of our Google cameras that we have around the perimeter of our house. and the one that's inside, which was actually kind of neat, that I could say, give him the battery level, and it says backyard camera is at 70%, back gate camera is at this percentage, side patio camera is at this percentage, only thing is that now I know if I want my watch battery level, which I could never see it on here or find it, that feature seems hard to find on my watch. I just have to specify that I want the battery level of my watch. But it's just kind of like a neat feature if you're a camera user like we are, to be able to get all the battery levels for the ones that are on battery versus being plugged in at one time. Just something I stumbled upon by accident.
Well, Gemini is getting to be smart. Just hopefully not a smart aleck. Well, thank you for that, Miss Renee. And yeah, I think that the whole between Assistant and Gemini, I think will eventually even out. But it's just everything is so brand new and fresh, because they did get rid of some of the Assistant teammates, pushed them over to the Gemini team, and vice versa. Like a lot of shifting and moving. So, hopefully we'll be able to get more insight on what's available out there. And I also stumbled upon, like I said, that Lookout thing, which is under installed services. And, to do the scenes and stuff like that, you never know what's there. And to have the Gemini as a describer is quite useful tool. Or, JAWS is using it on the Windows side. So, might as well all the rest of the folks use them. Seeing AI uses ChatGPT, and I think so does Envision AI, maybe. Maybe I forget what they use specifically. But most of these apps are found on both. And I could always say that if you don't, and we spoke about a couple apps earlier, but Be My Eyes is always great to have, because at times, if one fails, you have a backup app in your back pocket. So that definitely will get you some more credible information. I went through that more recently, where I had a couple cans or a couple items in my hand, and it was getting irritating because Lookout was being funny about it and not giving me what I wanted. And then I went to Be My Eyes, and it told me exactly the information I was looking for. So just note that you could use both services as far as Be My AI, not necessarily saying to call anybody, but the assistant or the, I guess, ChatGPT or whatever you want to call it, artificial intelligent AI.
Patricia, you can use Ira also. Don't forget Ira. They have an AI feature on there too.
Yes, I think I heard some more recently that they've implemented. And is that, are you sure? Are you know that if that's on Explorer or if that's on just the Ira app alone?
It's the Explorer. They're trying to eliminate the AI, the Ira app, but they got the Explorer now, and it's got the AI access on there now. And I've used it because I was labeling some bingo cards.
Awesome.
And yeah, so I would have to use.
So bingo night at Miss Patricia's house next week. Just let. All right. Well, appreciate all y'all. And again, the floor is yours. More questions, more thoughts. I'm more than happy to.
That would be a great idea to play bingo on the on iBug. Everybody has to have a bingo card. But thanks, though. I'm gone.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for your questions and thoughts. So any more questions, thoughts, concerns, please feel free.
Hershey, this is Susan again.
Yeah,
with terminology, because I had a Note 8 before I got my Samsung phone here, the S phone. And I remember the Note had Bixby, but I didn't use Bixby back then. I think I used the you brought up the word again, TalkBack. I think those two are two separate entities, correct?
Yes. So this is Hershey.
I'm using Bixby now on my Samsung and my Google Watch, and I kind of forgot about TalkBack, but
Okay. I really appreciate you brought this up because so on televisions they use a screen reader called I think Voice Guide. I think Foster has left, but I know he would know that right away. And so the Voice Guide is the screen reader aspect, and
okay, because
then
I do have Samsung TVs and I do have the TalkBack to me. Right? Yeah.
right with the Samsung TVs though, it's not using TalkBack, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
if you have, let's say, an LG TV, a Sony TV, it is using a TalkBack. If
Oh, okay.
you were to buy, let's say, the Google Streamer, it's like at $100. It's using TalkBack, obviously. But what Bixby typically is that Bixby is, I guess you could call the name synonymous to Assistant or Gemini, because all those three names are even SIRI, because they are kind of the assistants, right?
Okay.
But what these assistants also have capabilities of doing is the task at hand, like recognizing text, documents, scenescapes, things of that nature. So when we describe something like Bixby, Bixby is, I would kind of categorize it as the assistant aspect. If
Okay.
I were to take, like, Samsung way back in the Wayback Machine when the Note 8 and the Note 9 were out, had a screen reader called Voice Assistant. But
Right.
if you don't have I mean, I still have my Note 9. I love it. Still love it. It was one of my favorite phones. And with those phones, Samsung decided, well, we're going to make our own screen reader. We're going to call it something fancy, Voice Assistant. And I don't know if that was a namesake with VoiceOver, VO, I don't know. But someone thought it was clever. And then a couple of years back, I don't recall the year right offhand, all phones that are Android are all using TalkBack. So as far as screen readers are concerned, it's TalkBack. If it's an assistant that you're going for, then you have your flavors. So on your Samsung phone, you do have the ability to use Gemini. You do have the ability to use Assistant. You have the ability to use Bixby. So let's say you wanted to use Gemini. You would go to either a website, gemini.google.com, and ask it your question as you would anything else. If you wanted to download the Assistant app, you could look for the Assistant app. It's been a while since I've been in the Play Store, but the Google Assistant had an app previously, or maybe still does. And then Bixby is what they have baked into their system, where, again, if you were to go under accessibility settings, you'll see different feature sets that relate to Bixby. And that's where something like the Lookout Assisted Vision would do. So something like short text documents, taking the scenescape, knowing what kind of bottle of wine you're going to have in a half hour, et cetera, et cetera. So they are kind of different. They're not necessarily a screen reader. They're more of a assistant, if that makes more sense now.
Kind of. So like what you were saying, the one lady was talking about Gemini. So Gemini, is that you could put that app on your phone and have Bixby on the phone too at the same time, or you have to pick one?
You could have them on your phone. But you can't use them. You'd use one after the other. It's not like you would say, "What's the weather?" and then both of them will fire off, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's like, okay, G. If I said okay, G, or the word Google, my speakers will go off. Everything else will go off. Or the word hey, and then corresponding with the Google word. But when it comes to Bixby, there is also the voice that you could call it. It's its name. So depending on what phones, and as you mentioned, you have S phone, you could look under the settings and you could even talk to your phone or press the side key buttons or the buttons that are like the power button. And if you press and hold it, for example, it would launch said, thing. So if I were to, like, I have a Pixel phone in my hand, I'll just go ahead and plug her in. Just one moment.
Yeah, because at first when I got this phone, I didn't really know how to turn it off, and I didn't want my phone to ring during meetings and
Right.
stuff. So I did what you said. There's a button on my phone on the right-hand side, and I
Right.
pushed it in, and Bixby, I asked Bixby to turn off my phone, and it turned it off.
Exactly. And again, what is interesting about all of these phones, everybody likes to have their own flavor. So that's not going to work on a Pixel phone, but it's going to work on a Samsung phone. So that's Bixby doing its job because Bixby's parents is Samsung.
Oh,
So
okay.
whenever you say it on a Samsung phone, it's going to say, okay, yeah, no, I'll go ahead and turn that phone off for you, or mute all, or sound off, etc. Let's see here. Let me get the volume up just a bit. So, could you repeat what you just asked, so I could show you? Or I was going to ask you. Okay, I'm gonna say something with the assistant. So you're from Virginia, I believe, right?
Right.
Assistant will be ready soon. Tap to dismiss assistant.
So I held down the power button there, and you probably heard it yap away.
I did.
Tap to dismiss assistant.
And then
And you probably heard it red and. So
okay, hush.
home photos.
So that in itself, it still says assistant, right? It doesn't say Gemini or something fancy like that. But when you're doing some of these, when you're searching through some of these things, it could use Gemini, if that makes more sense.
Oh, okay.
So when you're looking for what's that restaurant down the street on, down in DC, it may have the information, but then it's Gemini pulling that information.
Okay.
If you were to ask Bixby, hey, what's that one restaurant down by the White House and, and blah and blah, it's going to use Bixby as doing the legwork. So those are the three assistants. And if anybody else has more insight, please feel free to give more on if there's more to add to it. All right, and I guess I was somewhat right on that information. And like I said, it's so much to keep up with these days, with
Right.
everyone having all these different things, and it's some of these articles. When Kevin mentioned the article, said, "Hey, this thing's not going to work." I wasn't totally aware of it, but let me go ahead and show you, for example, what the
Talkback menu. Actions in list.
So the talkback menu is how I got there was just tapping with 3 fingers on the screen, right? But
Describe image.
if I swipe right once, I heard describe image. Now if I double tap,
Detected image. The image is the logo for Google Photos. It is a white circle with a 4-colored design inside, resembling a pinwheel or fan. The colors are yellow, red, green, and blue. Beneath the circle is the word photos in white. Sans serif font. The background is black. Media volume controls. Accessibility.
so not bad for what it was supposed to do,
The
right?
image is the logo for Google Photos. It is a white circle with a 4-colored design inside.
And if it's too
resembling a pinwheel or
fast, I
fan.
could
The colors are
always
yellow, red,
slow it
green,
down.
and blue. Beneath the circle is the word photos in white. Sans serif
But
font. The back.
what makes this easier is if you're on a website or on a web page and you popped up a picture, I don't have Facebook or Meta or any of that on my phones. They're not allowed. But if you were to, try to figure out, hey, what's this person, like, who's in this picture? Then you could go ahead and ask it those specific questions. And just a quick recap, even of Lookout.
Be my eye. Home messages. Home. Seeing AI. And be my lookout.
I have Lookout opened here too.
Select mode. Button.
Move device towards
Oh,
top
okay.
right.
So
Too close. Move device away. Move device towards bottom. Too close. Move device away. Try taking a photo to scan what's in view.
So it's directing me, right, of how I need to go about things. But let's go to the menu real
Select
quick,
mode. Button.
or select mode.
Lookout. Enlist 7 items.
So in the select mode menu,
Text 1 of 7.
you have text,
Checked. Documents 2 of
you
7.
have documents,
Explore. Beta 3 of
you
7.
could explore your environment,
Currency 4 of 7.
you could do currency. I was recently in India, so for 3 episodes, I was using that currency mode to figure out what were the rupee notes, because I'm not that familiar. You have rupees, you have dollars, and other currencies there.
Food labels 5 of 7.
Food labels, it would download a little file onto on your phone, and then if you point it at a Coke can or maybe cereal box, something like that, it should give you some information on that.
Find beta 6 of 7.
You could find objects of like a door, table, forget the exact other ones, a cup, I think it said. So you could use that as finding objects.
Images.
So Hershey, would that be
Go ahead.
good? Like the lookout, would that be good? Say you're entering a hotel room and you're just entering it, and you put your phone in front of you, and would that app be able to describe the room to you?
It should. I'm a
Okay.
little embarrassed because I haven't done my laundry this week, so that's tomorrow. Otherwise, I would take a picture right now and just
No,
to
I'm
show
just
you.
asking. I'm going to be going to a conference in
Right.
October, and I'm going to be by myself for the first time. Usually my husband's with me, but he's not able
Mhm.
to go this time. And I'm just kind of a little nervous
Right.
to get my bearings around. So that's what, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
So
thinking I'm going to have to
if
use the phone for devices.
you were to go to the
Lookout.
scene, for
Text 1 of 7.
example,
Lookout. Text 1 of 7.
or
Checked. Explore. Beta. Currency. Explore. Beta 1
Explorer,
of 7.
sorry.
Checked.
Explore.
Lookout. Explore
Text.
mode. Select mode.
Otterbox.
Button. Out of list.
Laptop with text.
Detected.
Zoom
Icon.
text.
Menu.
Picture frame with text. Doll. Lamp with text. Logitech. Text.
So
Text.
as you notice,
Text. 3. iBug today 2.
it's stating whatever I'm pointing at with it's the Pixel Fold that I'm using it on, but it's pointing out what objects are available, basically.
Okay. Okay, good.
So like when you walk in with the lamp or this and that and the other, and the other app to keep in handy, just in case if you really need that somebody is Be My Eyes, right? Because you don't,
Right. I've used Be My Eyes,
right?
like what you were saying, the AI and the backup to call the volunteer.
Right.
But yeah, I have seen AI on my phone too. But like you mentioned in the meeting this evening, sometimes it doesn't work the way you want to. So I just
Right.
go to another app. Yeah.
It's that information that we're really seeking, and then we know the can is red, right? It's Coca-Cola. I know
Right.
it's red. Like, come on. And I want to know, is it vanilla or is it like cherry? Is it which vanilla is like which can is it? Or just giving an example. But I found the Be My Eyes sometimes when it came to the results was a little bit more clean and clear. But that
Right.
doesn't
I have
mean you
two. I have two.
but that doesn't mean that images isn't getting better because we have to learn this much. Everybody is using Be My Eyes. Only Android people are using Google Lookout Assisted Vision. Now,
Oh,
I
okay.
mentioned it today. Miss Patricia knew about it, kind of didn't know. You know about it, kind, so we're all wavery. But what this makes it better is more we use it, the AI or the artificial generative AI, whatever you want to call it, it's getting smarter to understand this is what I'm looking at. And the fact that the other side with ChatGPT and Be My Eyes is being used often, it is easily more describable with what it's seeing, right? It recognizes more objects than others. So those are two definite apps that I could recommend. Envision AI is a third, and then Seeing
I have
AI,
that.
and
Right.
those are the few that I keep around. I know there's Super Sense out there in the wild. I know that there are others, but I personally haven't heard of anything that hasn't worked. Has worked tremendously. Like I don't use Ira either, but it's not to say Ira is not a great choice. It's just Ira costs money, and then Ira has the Ira AI. So yeah,
But just remember with the Ira app, and that's for anybody out there, um, there are Ira free zones, so you don't
correct.
have to pay. And those are like the airports. Target is
No.
an Ira free zone, and I've actually used Ira in the airport to
How
get
did
me
you
from
like
one
that?
gate. Oh, it was wonderful because when they take their time trying to get someone to come and guide you and
Right.
to your next gate,
Uh-huh.
I was able to call Ira since it was an hour free zone, hold my phone up in front of me and walk, and they let you know, if there's if there's an obstacle or person you need to go around, and it looks at the gate. He's reading for you and then letting you know where your gate is. So he's actually literally guiding you to the gate. And when I have to take a detour to the ladies' room, there's a private mode. You can turn it on private mode, go do what you need to do, come back out, turn it back on, and you don't worry about no minutes. The only thing about it is my battery life. So I try to make sure I keep my charger with me so that I can keep my phone charged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's very helpful in the store because, like I said, I used it in Target as well.
And depending on the conference that you're going to, Susan,
Mhm.
is you could always ask, like sometimes, Hilton and Hyatt and this and that and the other, they may be an IRA location for that, said conference.
Oh,
And if we have something coming up in Jacksonville out here, and maybe, for that meeting, they might turn it on as a free spot. So, and IRA, by the way, the spelling for that is AIRA.
yes,
So,
and you don't have to ask anybody. Once you turn the app on, it will, if you have notifications turned on, it will let you know when you hit an IRA free zone.
oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's AIRA.
Yes.
and I would put in Explorer or Explorer
Yes.
just to get the most latest and greatest app, because there is maybe still an IRA app floating out there in the wilderness, but it's IRA Explorer.
Yes. And the AI built is you get 10 minutes. No,
Oh,
you get I think it's like every 30 minutes you get 10 minutes free for the AI built-in feature of it, whereas for the IRA you get 5 minutes a day free.
okay. But now, Hershey, what were you just mentioning? Something about AIRA in wilderness? What was that?
No, AIRA Explorer.
Oh,
So they have another app called IRA that's old, and I'm not sure if the Play Store still carries it.
But
So
our Explorer is the latest version, and that
the
is the
latest,
one that
right?
you would have to use.
This is John.
Go ahead,
Yes,
John.
John.
Yeah, so I think the reason why they brought in Ira Explorer is because that app they are able to offer the other features, like you can share your screen. So
Yes.
if you have trouble navigating an app, there's also the different camera views. So there's, aside from the rear camera, there's the front camera if you want to take a
Yes.
selfie. Um, and there's, oh, what else is there? So of course, Hershey also already mentioned like Ira AI, or the Access AI, which is good. You can get verification if you're not sure about the description it gave. You can connect with an agent. And on the computer side, so if you need help with your computer, Ira, they've actually partnered up with Remote Incident Manager app as well. So you can get that at getrim.app, and then when you put that on your computer, you can get remote assistance from Ira as well.
Yes.
Thank you for that, John.
All right, y'all. We are winding down to our last
Well,
2 minutes of the call.
Michelle,
Yes, Michelle.
quick question.
Yes.
A young lady mentioned about her Google Watch, and I had actually purchased from T-Mobile one of those smart watches, but everything was just so small and just it was very difficult to navigate. And I have low vision, and I was just wondering, the young lady that said she had a Google Watch, is it any different, or maybe you just have more vision?
oh, hi, this is Susan. Yes, I'm the lady that has the Google Watch. Yeah, I got it through Amazon, and how I work my Google Watch, and I have like I guess it's called a tumbler. Some of the, I guess you can buy at certain types of Google Watches. Some of them have the tumbler. It's like a knob, and it's better for me. Like, for example, you have your home page, and then if you turn the tumbler once, it goes to one section, like exercise, and you turn it again, it's like your daily activities for the day. And that's the way I work it. My husband has the I guess the iPhone thing, and he's the one that's poking the buttons and all that. But when we looked to buy the Google Watch for me, he thought that the Tumblr would be easier for me, which I think it is, because I mean, I have my Samsung phone here, and I'm able to work it. But with that phone, I don't really, I listen because I have the talk back on it. So I'm listening to a lot of it when I'm turning the knobs and stuff on it. And when I have a phone call that comes in, and it tells me, the talkback tells me who's calling me, and then it says decline or accept, and I just push the button to accept, and then the clear voice comes right through the phone. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Go
Renee.
ahead.
I also was talking about the Google Watch, and I just use the screen reader and gestures and the voice assistant to use my watch. I mean, one of the biggest reasons that I got the watch was so that I wouldn't carry my phone around all the time when I didn't want to
Right.
drop my phone. So I have cellular service on the watch, so it's easy enough to answer it, and I can use the assistant to ask it questions, and I use gestures to navigate to things that I want to go to, or I use the screen reader also. So
I was
that's
going
just
to
the
say,
way.
yeah, I have the Samsung Galaxy Watch, and I use the screen reader.
Hmm.
Except for I have it Bluetooth to my phone, so it's
I do
connected
too.
with my
Yeah.
phone, so that as Renee said and as the other lady said, yeah, using the speech helps a lot more because the watch faces are so small. But if you don't have the bevel that turns,
That's it,
all
the
it is
bevel.
swipe all it is the swipe gestures that you use to rotate it. Okay. But
Mm.
which watch did you get is the question.
Oh,
The
go ahead.
Galaxy.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Galaxy, and what phone do you have?
I have a Samsung Galaxy S22.
Okay, yeah, you can connect it to that phone through Bluetooth and through Samsung
Where
Smart
Gears.
things.
Yeah,
Samsung Wear is app
Wear
or
Aware.
Yeah,
is
Samsung
the
Wear.
app.
Hmm.
right.
Yeah, and that will connect it to your phone as well as sync it with your phone. But you can turn on all the accessibility features on the watch.
And this is Hershey Michelle. One feature that you might want to maybe give it a go is called Select to Speak. If you go under to your Android accessibility settings, try to look for something that says Select to Speak. If you don't like it talking so much and you are low vision, maybe that could help you to kind of spot tap on the device. Otherwise, yes, the screen itself could be really small. And then under accessibility, you could also increase the font size and all of that stuff. And one more feature for Samsung watches, and now also coming to the Pixels, is if you want it to vibrate. So if it's like 2 o'clock, it might vibrate twice and then stop. So it has different modes where you could feel it by haptic vibration instead of it talking to you. And that's another way. If that helps you, then it helps you just a little bit for everybody.
Yeah. And everybody, I hate to cut us off right now, but we're gonna have to end our show.
Hey, it's 5 years.
But just know that next month we will be back here on October 16th. Next month, same time.
October 1/6.
Yes. So everybody, I want to say thank y'all for a great call, and we will see you next month.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
Thank
Bye,
you. Take
everyone.
care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
I gotta watch the memory.